Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. So today we are going to talk about a lot of important topics, and we are first going to talk about Kike Setien. And so Kike Setien did have an interview with Bein Sports, and I'm going to be very honest here, like he did speak about a lot of topics about his players. And Setien, over the past 2 months, knowing that there's a pandemic going on, Setien has been talking a lot about his players and who he wishes to come back. He did claim that he wants to speak to Coutinho when he does come back to FC Barcelona. He also claimed that he wants to see Elenia, and he counts on Elenia to come back to the club. Throughout this pandemic, I really believe that Kike Setien had a reflection. And what I mean by a reflection, I mean he was asking himself where was this team at before he was signed at the club? What is their situation like? Did they have a lot of game time before me? Did any players have tactical problems before I came to the club? And he did not just say, okay, I'm going to focus on the players that I have in my team. No, I think that Kike Setien is looking at the whole picture. He looked and said, okay, who was Barcelona trying to sell, and who are the players that are being loaned out? And most importantly, who are the players that Barcelona are trying to bring in? And one of them is Neymar Jr. And everybody knows this. I'm talking about the fans, the players, the people from the board. Everybody knows that the club's intentions is to bring Neymar Jr. at some point. And so when the reporter asked Kike Setien, what does he think about Neymar Jr., this is what he had to say. He said, I would like to coach Neymar someday, but like any other player, we are talking about a level that fortunately I have already been able to fulfill. One of the dreams of training the best player of the world, who is Lionel Messi. We'll see what happens. And so clearly from this statement, Kike Setien is calling Neymar Jr. This is the exact same way he called Felipe Coutinho and Carlos Elenia. Kike Setien is not afraid to speak. And for him to act in this way, calling all these players back in, Kike Setien is very well aware that he's not going to be at Barcelona for a long time, especially if you compare it to coaches like Luis Enrique, Pep Guardiola. They have all stayed there for at least 3 to 4 years. And Kike Setien did sign a contract until June 2022, but there is a break clause in his contract that allows him to leave at the end of next season, which will be in the summer of 2021. And with Kike Setien considering that in his mind, knowing that he does not have a long time in this club, and he knows that he has a dream job right in front of him, which is coaching all of these players, he does want to build a dream team. He simply wants to have fun. He wants to build a great team, a team that has everything, a team that can dribble, a team that can score goals, a team that can defend. He wants superstars in his team. And yes, I'm talking about Felipe Coutinho and Neymar Jr., all of them being in the same team. I think that is what Kike Setien wants to do at his time. And Kike Setien knows that he has no power on who to bring in for next season. And so the best thing that he can do is go to the public, go to the media, talk to these interviewers and say, look, I highly favor this player. I am a big fan of this player, and I hope that I get to coach him one day. And that is the best thing that he can do. But those type of talks on interviews will result in putting pressure to the board. And what's even more staggering to me is that Kike Setien is not the first person calling Neymar Jr. This all started with Messi saying at the beginning of this season that the board did not try hard enough to bring Neymar Jr. in. Then followed up with Bartomeu, who has been reported that he highly favors Neymar Jr. And then immediately after that, we have Xavi Hernandez, who says that he would love to work with Neymar Jr. and that he would sign Neymar if he coached FC Barcelona. And to top it all off, the current Barcelona coach is saying that he would love to coach Neymar Jr. And out of the 4 people that I just mentioned, 3 of them work for FC Barcelona, and one of them, Xavi Hernandez, is very influential in this club. And they know that Xavi Hernandez has a great chance of coaching this club next season in 2021. And now with Setien making it clear that he does want to bring Neymar in, how will the board react to this? What will they do? And I think that it's safe to say that Barcelona will attempt to bring Neymar in, but the real question is, how much focus are they going to put into this Neymar operation? Are they going to give in 90% of the transfer window to Neymar Jr., or are they just going to wait until the last 3 to 4 weeks of the transfer window and say, okay, let's see if we could get Neymar Jr. or not? And one of the biggest questions that I personally have for this move is, how is Neymar Jr. going to function under Kike Setien? What is that front 3 going to look like next season? But that's going to be a whole other topic in a whole other separate video. But as of now, Kike Setien, who is the Barcelona coach, wants to coach Neymar Jr. Now moving on to the next topic of the day, and we are going to talk about Antoine Griezmann. So according to Mundo Deportivo, they have stated that Griezmann will stay at the club and Barcelona will not negotiate with him. Then they followed up with Antoine Griezmann is non-negotiable for Barcelona. His departure won't be negotiated neither with Newcastle nor with PSG for Neymar, and Chelsea for Kante. He is untouchable. Griezmann doesn't want to leave Barcelona also. He wants to win the Champions League with FC Barcelona. And when we are talking about Antoine Griezmann, right, one of the big questions that everybody has is that what's going to happen with Antoine Griezmann next season? Like every move that Barcelona makes when it comes to signing an attacking player, everybody always asks, okay, but what about Antoine Griezmann? When Luis Suarez ends up coming back, people ask, what's going to happen with Antoine Griezmann? Oh, Martinez is going to come. What's going to happen with Antoine Griezmann? Oh, Neymar Jr. is going to come. What's going to happen with Antoine Griezmann? Everything that happens in the summer that has to do with the attacking front line always ends up with a question of what's going to happen with Antoine Griezmann. And look, I think it's safe to say that Barcelona is going to keep this player, but if we are going to keep Griezmann, I only ask for one thing, and this one thing is something that usually every Barcelona player, every new Barcelona player ends up failing at, and that is figure out a way to play your game in this club. And so let me explain. There is a reason why MSN is so successful, because each of these three players figured out a way to play their own game in that club, because we have multiple players who have been coming to FC Barcelona over the past 6 to 7 years, and they come to Barcelona and they don't do the one thing that Barcelona signed them for. Like they simply come to the club and say, okay, I am going to work for Lionel Messi to make him a better player, when it should be the exact opposite. They should come into the club and say, okay, what can I bring, which is one of my qualities, what can I bring in order to help Lionel Messi? Those are two completely different things, and that is why the MSN was so successful. Neymar Jr. added a quality that he knew would help Lionel Messi, and Suarez added a quality to the club that he knew would help Lionel Messi. And so look, as a Barcelona fan, seeing that Antoine Griezmann is working extremely hard to become a successful player at this club, and knowing that the club and Griezmann see eye to eye next season, I'm going to continue to support this player. And also we have the 2021 elections coming next year, so by that time Griezmann is going to be 30 years old, and by that time Griezmann will have a clear idea to ask himself, do I want to continue at this club? And it will also be the completion of his second year run. And if we are going to have Antoine Griezmann next season, there's still going to be the question of, is he going to play the left wing position, or is he going to be the striker of FC Barcelona? And we also have to remember that there is a high chance Martinez is going to be at this club next season. And so if Antoine Griezmann is going to be put as the striker under Kike Setien's Barcelona, I think the correct order on who to start in that position would be Martinez first, Griezmann second, and Luis Suarez third. And if Kike Setien decides to put him as our left wing, Griezmann should be the first option to play in that position, followed up with Dembele being that second option to play on the left wing. And we have to remember, this is the suggested take on if Neymar Jr. does not come and Antoine Griezmann does stay and he wants to be committed. Now moving on to the next topic of the day, and so this section of the video we are going to address some rumors, and I firstly want to talk about the Arthur speculations. So there was a report coming from Gazzetta Sport. They reported that Arthur was initially reluctant to move to Juventus, but Arthur was starting to open the possibility of moving to Juventus, which basically means that this report was saying that Arthur was considering moving to Juventus after all the drama that was going on about Barcelona wanting to move out Arthur Melo away from the club. Now we do have Roger Torreo and Fernando Polo, who are both very reliable and credible journalists, addressing this rumor, and this is what they had to say. They deny that the Gazzetta report about Arthur is not true. The player's intentions have not changed, and he still wants to stay at FC Barcelona. And so I do have a lot of respect for Arthur Melo, because in today's game there are multiple players that want to look for money, and whichever club is offering the higher wage, that player usually ends up choosing that club. And Fernando Polo and Roger Torreo did explain that Arthur is only making about 1 million per year, which is like one of the lowest wages Barcelona has to pay. And Juventus is offering Arthur Melo a higher salary. And for Arthur to still deny this is speaking great volume of how great this player is, and I highly respect that from Arthur. Because if we look at the whole picture of all this, he rejected the higher salary and he told his own club, Barcelona, that he does not want to move. And if you guys are wondering why Barcelona wants to sell Arthur Melo, is because they want to balance the books. But besides that, Arthur Melo believes that he has a lot to offer for this club. He understands that he did not have the best season so far in this season, but he does want to commit to this club and show why Barcelona signed this player. And I really do respect that, because Arthur Melo is a great player. He is a player that immediately adapted to the system, and I know that he's going to do well in this club. So final conclusion, if you hear any reports about Arthur Melo considering a move to Juventus because of all the drama that has been going on, that's not true. Arthur Melo does want to stay at the club. And now moving on to the next topic, which is closely linked to the last topic that we did talk about. So we are going to address another rumor. According to Fabrizio Romano himself, he stated that the Pjanic and the Sciglio plus 25 million for Semedo, that operation has never existed or was considered by any club. He also stated that Semedo isn't Juventus' priority and they want only Arthur for Pjanic. And again, the journalist that reported this is extremely reliable. So as of now, the final conclusion, Juventus only want Arthur Melo for Pjanic. Semedo is not a priority for Juventus, and Juventus will continue to pursue Arthur Melo throughout this whole summer. And just to top it all off, Semedo is linked to multiple clubs, but he's not the first priority for any of them. And that is the final conclusion, and that is where we stand today for all of these rumors. I have addressed them. You guys know where everything's at the moment. So if you're watching this video like within the first 6 to 7 hours, this is what's going on in the club today. And if you guys are asking when is the transfer window going to open, we don't know the exact date yet, but what needs to happen first is that there needs to be a conclusion for all of the league games. And I'm talking about La Liga, the German league, the Premier League, the Italian league. All of those need to come to a closure in order for us to get an idea of when the transfer window is going to be open. And that is it for today's Barcelona daily news. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new here and you guys are watching me for the first time, thank you guys so much for being here. This is what we do. We talk about a lot of rumors. Right now, we usually talk about Barcelona playing against another team and we do analyze them, but there's no games going on at the moment. But we do talk about that also. So if you guys are new here, subscribe to the channel. If you're a Barcelona fan, subscribe to the channel. Again, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.